Speaker is not working.
Yours, we hear you loud and clear.
All right. Daf Samach, beginning with, we left off at the din that a person may not go out on Shabbos wearing one sandal, and quickly reviewing that we learned in the Mishnah, Rashi brought that which it says in Yerushalmi and that which it sells with two shoes. Mistama, something happened to one of them. He took it off and he's carrying one, which is why there's only one on his foot. So not to give, they're going to laugh at him, you're going with one shoe. And because of that, he might forget for a moment that it's Shabbos and take off his shoe for people not to laugh at him. And we're going to go on into great. Then the Mishnah writes, but if there is a wound on his foot, then he may go out. And when we learned the Mishnah, he may go out with the sandal on the wounded foot or on the non-wounded foot. And we're going to learn the sugya, and again, we'll have to learn the sugya sai according to the first explanation of Rashi from the Yerushalmi, right, from Shas Yerushalmi, and from Rabbi Sai. We're going to take a step back and analyze what's the reason for which people wear a sandal. Is it for protection or is it for comfort? And we'll see how this question will play into the guys. That's not the way we do it, right? We'll speak how we do it. But Rabbi Yechanan lechatchila put on the left before the right. We'll learn the source for the minig nowadays that we dafka put on the right before the left. But if the shiur sandal has laces, then after we put on the right one first, we tie the left one first, because we find by tefillin that when it comes to the mitzvah of kshira, of binding, there being that tefillin by most people is on the left hand. So for binding, left comes before right. We're going to learn about whether a person is allowed to go on with tefillin on Shabbos. We're going to go back again to the Mishnah Daf Samach and speak about from spices. There's a concept in halacha called a kameya that's mumcha. It's an expert amulet. And here again, we'll have to speak about the concept of an amulet being an expert or being a proven amulet that this works. There's another concept that the writer is an expert. He already proves himself that whatever he did in the past worked. And we'll see again how this plays into the dinim in the Mishnah. We're going to be analyzing whether kameyin, whether these amulets, yesh behen kedusha, whether they have intrinsic holiness or not. We'll see on nafkamina. And ultimately, we're going to be analyzing, we're going to be questioning whether a person is allowed to enter a latrine, a bathroom, a beis hakisei, with an amulet or not, and a lot more. And let us start. We left off on Daf Samach.
Rabbi,
Mamish, the last line in the Amid by the two dots.
Rabbi, it's a latrine.
Referring back to the Mishnah.
Latrine.
The Mishnah Daf Samach. It says that a person may not, more than abundance, that a person may not go out with a sandal on one foot, right? And the Mishnah says that the im yatsa, he's not chayiv chatos, right? And again, he may not go out either because mepnei hachshad or because people will laugh at him and it's might cause him to carry. So you can't go out, but when, so the Mishnah says, bisman she'ein beragloi maka, as long as there isn't a wound on his foot. If there is a wound on his foot, then he may go out, right? That's turning to Daf Samach yesh beragloi maka. This implies that if there is a wound on his foot, then nothing, then he may go out wearing only one sandal. And the question is, on which one may he wear the sandal? On the wounded foot or on the non-wounded foot? Okay. So Amar Rav Huna, that ba'oisa sheyesh b'maka, he may only wear it on the foot that has the wound. And why does he say that? And again, we're going to have to learn the Gemara Sai L'Shas Yerushalmi and Sai to the Rabbi Sai of Rashi. And we're going to read that Kosover, that Rav Huna learns sandal in order to give a person comfort or pleasure when they walk, as we'll see the next opinion. Now we have to learn inside the Rashi. Second, the Rashi from the top of the Amid, sandal l'shum tsar avid, meaning the main reason why you wear it is shelo yinagev the yeseidos hadrachim, for your foot or for your toes not to get gored or get stubbed by the various items that you have on the roads. And because of his limp, Zak Rashi, they'll know sheyesh beraglav maka kirin boy lefi masa. From the way he's walking, they already understand shapar soisav kashois. That you see that it's hard for him to walk. He's limping. He has a wound. And the einoi mitztayr b'yeseidos hadrachim. If he would not have had pain, then v'loy noy aloi, he would not have put on any shoes. You know why he put on? They see from his limp he has a wound, and they understand that it makes sense that someone like this should only cover one of his feet, which is the one that has a wound, so the wound should not get even more wounded. Or Zak Rashi, ulelashen raboisai, and according to my Rebbe's explanation in the Mishnah, that it's because people will laugh at him. And when imagine an adult that's laughed at in public might forget that it's Shabbos and take off the one shoe, even if to laugh at him. What does Rav Huna say? If he puts the shoe on the wounded foot, people won't see the wound. It's going to be covered. Doesn't matter. Even if people don't see the wound, still, says Rashi, he will never take it off. Why won't he take it off? Again, that's Rav Huna. Because you put on a shoe not to have pain. He's already wounded. He doesn't want to have on a wounded foot that you need extra protection for the wound not to get even worse. You will never take it off, even if people make fun of you. So this is the way it works. That the reason why Rav Huna says you can only go out with the sandal on the foot with the wound is because Rav Huna holds sandal l'shum tza'at that kosover that Chia Barav understands l'shum tainug avid. That the reason why you put on a sandal is not primarily to prevent yourself from being in pain. No, but it's to add comfort, to provide comfort. Look inside the Rashi, 10 lines from the top of the Amid. Again, we have to go back. Sai Shas Yerushalmi and Sai L'Raboy Sai of Rashi. L'shum tainug avid, says Rashi, meaning Adam istanis, Venach. A person wears a sandal because they are finicky, right? And Umakirin mitoich maisav shenol na'aloi echa shehu istanis. And they know such a person is wearing a shoe because he's very finicky. People understand. They see that he's a finicky person. He likes wearing shoes. Why didn't he put on the shoe? Weiter says Rashi, and according to Rashi's Rabbi, if the issue is about you're going to be laughed at, not like before, not like by Rav Huna, not that they'll laugh at you and you won't care. No, people will never laugh at a person, this is normal people, when they see he has a wounded foot. Today, a person has a wounded foot. The wounded foot you can't fit into a shoe. You wear a shoe on the non-wounded foot. People are not going to laugh at you. You're not going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to forget that it's Shabbos. And invited just to read it inside the Gemara, as we learned out on Rashi. It's a very interesting machlokes. In other words, if you are a shoe salesman, what are you pitching? Are you telling people, oh, this will protect you? You're not going to get hurt, right? It's going to align your back today, or you're not going to step on a pebble. Or you're saying, no, this is comfortable. You have to know what to sell. You have to know why was the sandal made out, that for your sales pitch to resonate, hostal machlokes here. And now the Gemara says, Va'av Rabbi Yechanan Savala Kerafunan. How do we know that? The I'm sorry, to Rab Sheben bar Abba, who was his Talmud, someone who was Mishamashim. Havli misanoi, please give me my shoes. And what happened? This Rab Shemen, Yohavle the Yamin, gave Rab Yechanan not both together. He gave that has a wound in my foot. What did he mean by that? Oh, so let's take a step back, like we spoke about in the intro. Rabbi Yechanan is of the opinion, we don't do like Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Yechanan is of the opinion that you have to put on the left shoe before the right. Rabbi Yechanan would never put on the right before the left. The only reason he would put on the right shoe is if that's the only shoe that he's going to be wearing. And now let's invite it inside the Rashi. So Rabbi Yechanan tells him, you gave me the right foot. The Rabbi Yechanan, Sfirale, Dahan, Noyel, Sandalim, Noyel, Shel, Small, only with the one on the right, right? Now hold on. According to Chia Barav, you may not go out with one shoe on the wounded foot. Don't forget, Rabbi Yochanan had no wounded feet, not the right nor the left. If when you have one wounded foot and you can put on a shoe, you put it on the wound, no one sees the wound. That would be the case of Rabbi Yochanan. You gave me the right foot. I'm going to put it, if I put it on the right, I can't put it on the left. My left foot is not wounded, neither was his right. People are going to see me. The only reason why I'll be justified to go out like this on Shabbos is because I have a wounded foot, but I don't have a wounded foot. Now, by the way, that only fits if you put on the shoe on the wounded foot. Because if you put on the shoe on the non-wounded foot, this whole statement doesn't make sense. Because Rabbi Yochanan would have walked out. The foot that is uncovered is not wounded. You cannot even put on one shoe on the wounded foot, so this whole statement doesn't make sense. It only fits if you go like Rav Huna, that take, if you have a wounded foot, you put on the sandal on the wounded foot. Now, Rabbi Yochanan wasn't wounded, so he tells him, "What, you're making me like the din, like someone who has a wounded foot, that's going to walk out only with one shoe on, and the other foot will appear unwounded," which was his case. But why would you do that to me if both of my feet are healthy and well? Okay. So now the Gemara counters, and v'hachi ka'amar, asisa shall smile makom, like you made me, you gave me my right foot, right? So yeah, Rabbi Yochanan would never walk out with this in the Reshus HaRabim. First of all, Taka had no wounded feet. But what he meant is that if someone has a wound on his left foot, according to Rabbi Chia, then they would only wear the shoe on the right foot. Are you making me like someone who has Ke'ilu? I have a wound on my left foot. I don't have a wound on my left foot. You can learn. It's better to learn Pshat the way we learned before, because like we mentioned, Rabbi Yochanan's, none of his feet were wounded. If Rabbi Yochanan would have walked out with the right shoe on, at least someone would have thought that his right foot is wounded, which is why he's covering it with the sandal and not the other one. If Rabbi Yochanan would have walked out with the foot is exposed, and you would see that it's not wounded, it wouldn't work. It doesn't matter. The point is that he's just telling him, why are you making me like, according to Chia Barav, like someone who has a wound on one foot, which is why he's allowed to walk out with one. If I'm going to put on the right, I won't be allowed to put on the left. That was the word of Rabbi Yochanan. He was so medagdek to put on the left shoe before the right shoe that if he ever put on the left shoe first, if he ever put on the right shoe first, that's it. He wouldn't put on any other shoes. And now the Gemara goes through this topic. Like we mentioned, that if he put on the right shoe, he wouldn't put on his left shoe. That kitfillin kach min ha'olin, that just like we find by tefillin, and most people put on tefillin on their left hand, right? That we learned. Chavre and the nachais, the last pasuk in boy, normally yadcha is yud daled langechav. There it says yud daled chav hey yad keya. That's the source you put it on your weak hand. Kach min ha'olin, meaning matfillin you put on the left. Af min ha'olin, you have to put on the left shoe before the right shoe. Take the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan is an Amayra. How can you say against the Tanach? Meisvei, we learned in a Braisa that Kishuhu Noel, when a person puts on shoes, B'chlal, Noel shall yamin, V'achakach Noel shall smile. End of Braisa. Answers the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yosef, Hash the Tanya Hachem. Well, yeah, you have such a Braisa. You put on the right shoe first. But on the other hand, we have a statement from Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says you have to put on your left shoe first. The Avid, Hachi Avad, the Avid Hachi, whatever you do is correct. Whatever you do is good. So whatever you do is correct. Look inside Chevre, the top Tosfos. So the top Tosfos says that Perush the Braisa lepliga ad Rabbi Yochanan, and the Rabbi Yochanan Braisa. Rabbi Yochanan cannot go against the Braisa, so it must be there's no machlokes. And v'hachik Perushay kitfillin, which means afalgab generally the yamin is chashov in halacha. For example, le'inyan boyin yad u boyin regel. Whenever you have the din by the kahanim, when you have a din of a mitzvah that you have to put the dam on and the oil on the bayan yad and on the bayan regel, the right before the left. Chalitza is off the right. Yachol lino shol small tchilam. You also are allowed to put on the left first, and that's the chiddush of the Braisa. In other words, Tosfos learns pshat in the Braisa that the Braisa is not contradicting Rabbi Yochanan. Really, you should put on the right first. Elama, you are allowed to put on the left first. Rabbi Yochanan didn't go with that. But this is good and that's good. That's the way we are reconciling. It doesn't have to be one way. Either way is okay. Says the Gemara, no. Amalek on the left, he understood the pshat and the right is, you can do it like this, but you can do it like that. No, maybe the Bryce is saying dafka. Why did Rabbi Yechanan put on the left? Maybe it's possible. Furthermore, or the opposite. Maybe Rabbi Yechanan heard of the Brysa, and he heard another Brysa, which we don't know. Rabbi Yechanan Paskin like you do now, so now we don't know. In other words, Adarabah, it could be that Rabbi Yechanan rejected the Brysa, and maybe you have to put on your left shoe first. Maybe not. We don't know. So Amar Rab Nachman by Yitzchak, therefore, Yirei Shamayim, Yoitzi Yirei Shteihem. A God-fearing person will fulfill both. How do you fulfill both? First of all, who's the God-fearing person? That's his name. And Heichiyavid, how did he do it? First, Soyem, the Yemine, V'loi Katar. He would put on his right shoe. Second, Toisvis, the Soyem, the smaller the Katar, Oimer Rivam, the Dafke Le'inyin Kshira, when it comes to binding, who the Chashiva shall smell Tfei, because of the Chashivas of Tfilin, which is Bikshira. Aval Ibchaloi, in other words, what Tosfos wants to point out is, if you have slip-on shoes, common thing today, slip-on slippers, if there are no shoelaces, dafka the right before the left. Dafka the right, but not the way Rabbi Yechanan. And over the right, B'chal al pi Chasidus, al pi Kabbalah, it's very important that the right should always dominate the left. Yes, Gevura's hold. Adarabah, tying means Gevura, you're binding, you're holding something back. Correct. Binding represents Gevura. Pasha makes sense. So when you're binding, when you are expressing Gevura, of course the whole left is Gevura. Left has to come before the right because you're doing an act of Gevura. Do an act of Gevura with your left. But everything other than Kshira, dafka right before the left. Okay.
Rabbi, is that also the belt?
Omar Ravashi, Chazino le Rav Kahana, I saw by Rav Kahana the loy carpet. In other words, he was not particular. Sometimes he put on the right one first, sometimes he put on the left side first. That was the last statement that we're saying. And Tanach Rabbanon, here we're quoting a Braisa, Kishu Noel, when you put on your shoes, Noel shall yamin, put on the right shoe first, Vachakach Noel shall smile. However, in reverse, Kishu Chaylitz, when you are removing your shoes, Chaylet shall smile. First, take off the left.
Speaker is not working tonight, guys.
That we'll see that the Gemara is going to conclude, at least the top of Samach Beis, not mentioning the head first, and we'll address it when we get to Blinat. Okay.
Rabbi,
a person may not go
Rabbi,
out.
can you hear me?
Speaker is not working. He can't hear you.
Amar Absatra. Loi Taima, don't say that this Isur is only according to the Manda Amar, and we are referring to Amachloikas. We have an Eruv in Daf Tzadek, whether the mitzvah of tefillin applies on Shabbos or not. Right? We paskin, we know that we do not put on tefillin on Shabbos. Mitzvahs are divided into three categories amongst many other divisions. So you have mishpatim, edus, and chukim. Some mitzvahs are testimonies. When it comes to a testimony, the Torah says, al pi shnei edim, two are enough. The bris milah is a mitzvah that's called a testimony. Shabbos is a mitzvah of a testimony, right? Edus. So if you have a bris milah and you're keeping Shabbos, you already have two testimonies. You don't need the third tefillin, which is why we taka don't put on tefillin on Shabbos. But again, that's the machlokes that we're going to go through in greater depth, Erev and Tzaddik. So the Gemara says like this: don't tell me that this is only a little bit on the Shabbos loves on tefillin, which is why you may not go out with tefillin. No, afilu l'mandam Shabbos is a demand tefillin. Nevertheless, by the way, the Mishnah of Samach, like we already spoke out today, is not telling you Isur D'Oraisa. The Mishnah concludes that you're not Chayiv Chatas, right? The Yotze Eina Chayiv Chatas. It's only an Isur Midrabanan. What's the Isur Midrabanan? Consistent with this whole Pedic. You can wear it, but Dilma Asi Liyesuya B'Reshus Harabim, you might take it off and carry it. Brachas about taking it off and not coming too near. So you're going to take it off if you go to the bathroom. Okay, that's Tachshad. You might not put it back on. You might end up carrying it. That's one version of Rav Satra. The Ikedamas Nala Sefer, that Rav Satra's statement was on the opposite. When it says in the Mishnah, Ve'im Yatzah, Eina Chayiv Chatos, you're not violating an Isur D'Oraisa, L'man Da'amar, that Shabbos is Lav's Man Tefillin, which means that D'Oraisa, we should not be wearing tefillin. Nevertheless, if you wear tefillin outside on Shabbos, you still won't be chayiv chatos. My Talmud, derech malbush avida. You are wearing it the way you wear clothing. In other words, you're not carrying it in your hand, just like clothing is worn, even though it's takanatas man of tefillin midoraisa. But by the very fact that you are wearing it, you're not violating any midoraisa. That was the word of Rav Safra. Okay, gewaldig. And now we're going to beautifully break down this whole that you may not go out with the kameya bizman she'enoi min hamumcha. So let's go backwards. If it's okay, if it's an expert kameya with the details in a moment, then you are allowed to wear it on Shabbos. It's not considered a masoi. You can either call this a tachshit, you can call this a malbush, and it's good. But if it's not expert, then again, midrabanan, you may not go out with it, right? But there's a problem here. So, Rav Papa be written by an expert, and that the kameya itself is an expert kameya. We'll speak this out in a moment about what makes the writer the expert, what makes the kameya expert. They don't. You can have one without the other. Very easy. Don't learn that you need both. Ella says, Rav Papa, kiven the mumcha gavra, if the writer is proven to be an expert kameya writer, even though, let's say this mumcha was written for the first time, this kameya was never proven to work, you can wear it. It's a very beautiful piece of Gemara. Let me add one line, and with this, you will not get tripped up. Rav Papa is not saying that the only thing needed, to the exclusion of everything else, is Rav Papa is saying, really, you need one or the other, and either one is good. You clear on Ahmed Beis, the other side is addressing what happens if the writer is not mumcha, but the kameya is mumcha. The Mishnah is not talking about it. And look at the words of the Mishnah, says Rav Papa. Dekanami, because the words of the Mishnah is, he's quoting, V'loi b'kameya b'zman she'enoi min. You see that? Min hamumcha. V'loi ketani b'zman she'ena mumcha. Mishnah is not speaking about the Mishnah is speaking about the writer. If the writer is not a mumcha, then it's not good. If the writer is a mumcha, and he wrote this for the first time, it's good. Okay. Now let's go weiter. Tanach Rabban in more details again, because like we mentioned already, there's the question about, is the writer a mumcha? Is the kameya a mumcha? Rav Papa says you don't need both. Good, but let's just clarify, what does it mean? What makes the writer a mumcha? What makes a kameya effective? And therefore you are allowed to wear it on Shabbos. Even midrabanan, no problem. So says the Braisa, kol sheripe v'shana v'shilesh. We're going to call this Braisa number 1, just to contrast it with the Braisa number base. Kol sheripe v'shana v'shilesh. The Braisa is not mentioning whether it's the same person or different people, just to make this clear. And as the Gemara will rightfully understand from Braisa number 1, even if it's from the same person. But if this kameya healed this person 3 times, anything that's repeated, chazaka, we're speaking now about not the writer, we're speaking about this amulet, it healed 3 times, not it has to heal 3 different people. And that's this Braisa. Healed the same 3 times, it works. Now, furthermore, 3 times, even the same person, and again, even according to Rav Papa, if this healed, I don't care if the writer is mumcha. This healed, I'm good to go. I'll tell you more, just to make it clear now, you won't get tripped up later. If one kameya healed 3 times, and it was written, let's say, by you, and I copied it, I never did this in my life before, a person can still wear it, because if I made a good copy, because I copied that already proved to be effective. So this is called a kameya mumcha, even though I never did this in my life. Okay, now another important thing. How effective does it have to be? Is it that a person was deathly ill? No. Not only is it avada if it healed 3 times, ooh, this is a good kameya. No, the echad chayla she'ein by sakana. Still, a person of chayla she'ein by sakana is a person, just to know there's different levels. There's a chayla whose life is in danger. There's a chayla whose life is not in danger, but he has to go to bed. You know, like he spoke out, like for example, the Isur de Rabbanan not to take medication on Shabbos because of Shchikas Hamamanim, and that Gezerah is not allowed to take medication, and we paskin, it means a person who cannot stay, he has to go lay down. then he can take a Tylenol. If you would not lay down, then you cannot. Back over here. Nichpa means an epileptic. It's just a muscle. Not only is it good enough if it healed someone who actually had a seizure, and then they put this kameya on, and boom, the seizure went away. If we know that this person is epileptic, either because in the past he had seizures, or even in halacha, if he has 3 family members, that's a din of shaduchim. That how do you know whether an illness is genetic or not? Whether you should date? If the same family, if in this family you have this illness in more than 3 people, so that means that this is an illness that is genetic. The halacha doesn't use the word genetic, but going out, don't marry a woman if there's a serious illness that is 3 times in the family. So this guy comes from a family of epileptics. However, he wears this amulet. He never had a seizure. That also means it worked. Okay, weiter. You may tie it and untie it under the Reshus Harabim. Now, obviously, we're not going into the details. There are certain knots that you can never make. We're not speaking about making a non-halachically kosher knot. We're speaking about the fact that normally we would tell a person who's wearing a kameya, no, do not untie it, because you might not tie it, you might carry it. No, a person who's an epileptic, and they're wearing the kameya, even if they're going to untie, they're not going to walk carrying it. They're going to put it back on. So you're good. This is a general statement. Even if it's a kameya mumcha, it's hanging on you, and not on what? Not b'sheir nor b'tabas, not tied to a bracelet, nor tied to a ring. In other words, Raisa mishum marasayin, a very interesting marasayin. Be medayik in the words of Rashi, the top Rashi. Bepnei marasayin. It doesn't look like he's wearing it little because people that wore it on their bodies. It means they had a necklace and the amulet or this thing of herbs were touching their skin. The fact that he tied it on to another piece of jewelry, it looks like he's wearing it l'tachshit. And what's the emes? The emes is it's not a tachshit. But don't forget, we're going on the premise that we can wear a tachshit on Shabbos. So what's the worry? So Rashi is not saying that people are going to think that you're wearing a tachsha that you may not wear. Rashi is saying people, don't make it look like jewelry because it's not jewelry. Everyone should know what it is. They should not think that it's not something what it is. It should be clear you're wearing a kameh. Okay, end of quote. Braisa number 2. We learned in a braisa that is kameya mumcha. What's the kameya mumcha? Kol sheripe gimel b'nei adam. Something that in the past healed 3 different people. If it healed the same person 3 times, Braisa number 2 says that doesn't prove it's a good kameya. It's mashma from Braisa number 1, and so is the maskana. The Braisa number 1 never emphasized 3 people. It just says kol sheripe, v'shana, and v'shilesh. So is it enough for the same person, or does it have to heal 3 people? Question. We're going to take out the word ke'echad. That's the girsa. Answers the Gemara. Loikasha. The second braisa, it has to heal 3 different people. The second braisa is not addressing how do you know if the amulet is number 1. Is to prove that the writer, that the healer is an expert. Here, it's only proven it can be for the same illness, it can be for different illnesses. Then this writer can write for me an amulet. That was what Rav Papa said on Amud Aleph. He's already proven to be an expert healer. Good, so whatever he writes is mumcha. This Braisa number 1 is lemachuye kemeyas, to prove that this amulet worked. This amulet works. This is very important. That's what I said on before. Once this amulet, you open it up and see what it says in there. If this healed 3 people, if this healed even the same person 3 times, that's Braisa number 1. If this healed 3 times, is araya that this illness is addressed by the kameya. This kameya heals that illness. And therefore, if Chaim Yankel copies the kameya for me, I'm allowed to wear it. Chaim Yankel never proved himself. The kameya proved itself. Even though the kameya was Olav Shalom from Australia, the great Rabbi Groner, they're all great, but the great Rabbi Yitzchak Groner, I had the merit to be once in his home, and he showed me a kameya that the Rebbe wrote for his wife. His wife many years ago was not well. And he shared with my wife and I. We went to visit him. I'm going back in Mustama 26 years or something like that. That one thing is clear, that tlas kameya letlas gavre, that if a healer wrote 3 amulets for 3 different people, right? Tlasa zimni, and each one cured 3 times. So now we have 2 things. Number 1 is itamche gavra. He proved himself to be effective because he wrote for 3 different people. That's Braisa number 2. And for that, you don't need 3 times each. But that in itself is good enough. And the fact that each one of his amulets healed 3 times is oichid v'tamche kamea. Now this amulet, this formula is proven expert. So if I copy this formula, someone can wear it. Furthermore, says Rav Papa, another pshita for sure. If a person writes a kameya, right? 3 kameyas for 3 people, each one wore it, each one was cured once. That's clear. So again, the person is proven to be an expert. He wrote a kameya for 3 different people, but this formula is not proven to be expert. Now, guys, if that old tefillin have to be inside the box, and we learned in a Braisa that anichnas l'beis hakisei, choylets tefillin berachik arba amis, you have to take your tefillin. Was the whole sugya. Right nowadays, I can't hear you. Anyways, the latrines.
Latrine.
Exactly. That today, looking at many shuls, so the bathroom can be right off the shul. Doesn't matter because there's no bad odor. Anyways, coming back over here. So what mechupa oir doesn't help. Tefillin is mechupa oir. So the word says, don't compare one to the other. Over there by the tefillin, you have the shin. And Abaye noch tells you that the shin in the tefillin Shabbat is halacha l'Moshe Messinai. Writings on the box. That's not covered. That's the problem. But a kameya that's mechupa oir, you can enter the bathroom. Oh, and now we have a machlokes in Girsa'is. Well, let's read the Gemara, then we'll read the Tosfos. Now that we quoted Abaye's statement that shin of the tefillin is halacha l'Moshe Messinai, we learn Rambam. The Rambam writes that there are 8 halacha l'Moshe Messinais. The dalid of the tefillin, that's not in the box. The dalid means the way we make the knot of the tefillin Shabbat in the back. Halacha l'Moshe Messinai. And Abaye says that the yud of the tefillin is halacha l'Moshe Messinai. Wow. Look inside the second Tosfos, strongly disagrees with that. And he says, yeah, that the shin of the tefillin is halacha l'Moshe Messinai, that's good. But the other 2 statements is wrong. Abaye never said it. So Tosfos like inside and say, the Lord are sinan that the dalid and the yud of the tefillin chulei halacha l'Moshe Messinai, and he brings a gavaldik karaya. Pasha is getting late, but Tosfos, that's a big machlokes whether the dalid and the yud are halacha l'Moshe Messinai. Just to speak about the yud of the tefillin shabiyad, that there's a big machlokes rishonim whether you have to actually make the knot every time you do the mitzvah. You should bind it. Is the pshat make it tight against your skin, which is what most people do, or the way the Alter Rebbe is machmed for those of us who have the schus of wearing Lubavitcher tefillin, that we know that part of the mitzvah is that there's a part of the yud that's loose, and we make the brach, and the first thing we do is we pull it down, and it closes the knot. I think that's the Rabbeinu Elyahu. I think that's the name of the Rishon. That's to follow that shita, that there's a mitzvah noch to make the knot. But anyways, it's interesting that everyone has a shin, but the form of the dalid and the form of the yud, there's different minhagim, right? It's a lot easier for you to have different minhagim when something is not a halacha l'Moshe Messinai. Okay, so if it's not halacha l'Moshe Messinai, so the concept everyone agrees to, but how to make it. And indeed, we have different ways of many people have a double dalid. That's not our minig. When you see a box, you're not looking at a box. You're looking at a double dalid. Everyone calls it a dalid. We have one dalid, and we have the yud, and we have the schus of wearing the yud in a way, the knot, that we do the mitzvah of making a knot every time we do the mitzvah, and that's part of the mitzvah kshat. Let's chap an and finish until the Mishnah. Right, the last items that the Mishnah mentioned on Daf Samach, right, was was Veloy b'shiriyoin. We already typed shiriyoin. We'll type it again. Veloy b'kazda. Veloy b'magopayim. And now the Gemara types. Shiriyoin means zarda. Zarda means a coat of mail. Coat of mail covers the body. Armor that soldiers wear. Kazda amarav san varto. San varta, my friends, is a helmet. And magopayim amarav puzmike, leggings of iron. All of these three items, like the Mishnah says, you're not carrying. But on the other hand, midrabanan, we learned that you may not wear it. You may not wear it. I just want to point out, we pointed it out earlier on, that we learned on Daf Samach Aleph, this whole din, that the Haretz Allah, which is the helmet, and then speak about the shiriyon, then speak about the coat of mail, and then speak about the leggings. Go from the head to the body to the legs. Oh, Alter Rebbe in Perek Tes, when he speaks about the Nefesh HaBahamis, the Nefesh HaBahamis goes into the body, my friends, in the heart, B'chol HaSmali of the leif. We're speaking about armor. Armor for Yid, armor for what? Armor to protect ourselves against the animal, against the Yetzer Hara. There, the first, I got to protect, God forbid we end up doing it. That's the Chayda, the Seder in the Gemara. A lot more, God willing, to be continued. I couldn't see Danny's, I couldn't hear Danny, but I heard Danny's latrine.
4 times latrine.
You muted, I heard you.
You couldn't hear me?
I still can't hear you, Danny.
You can't hear any of us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Rabbi, I
me,
think
yeah,
you have to.
Entire share, nothing.
How was that? Hang on.
Hi, Yaakov.
Hi, everybody.
Rabbi, can you hear us now?
Hello?
Rabbi,
You're
no,
muted.
No,
now you're muted.
you have to click on the little arrow.
You're muted. The microphone is muted.
You're mute. Open up your mic. Your mic.
Hello.
That's